Hey there, tech enthusiasts. Welcome back to Tempcoder Tech. I'm Mike, your guide in the world of scripting, and today, we're kicking off our PowerShell Scripting series. If you're ready to unlock the power of PowerShell, you're in the right place. In this episode, we'll lay the foundation, covering the basics of variables, if-else statements, loops, functions, and how to take user input. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming PowerShell tutorials. Let's dive right in. Let's start Visual Studio. You can launch Visual Studio Code from your application menu or by running the code command in your terminal, if you've set up the path. Click on Open Folder in the File menu. This will open a file dialog where you can browse your computer's file system. Navigate to the location of your project folder. If you're creating a new project, select the folder you created earlier. If you're working on an existing project, select its folder. Once your project folder is open, you'll see the project's files and folders in the sidebar. You can create, edit, and organize your code within this project folder. In PowerShell, variables are fundamental. They allow you to store and manipulate data. Let's start by understanding how to declare and use variables. In PowerShell, you can declare a variable by using the $sign followed by the variable name. Variable names are not case-sensitive. PowerShell is a dynamically typed language, meaning you don't need to specify a data type when declaring a variable. PowerShell will infer the data type based on the value you assign to the variable. WriteHost is used to print text, variables, or other data to the console screen. It's commonly used for displaying messages, status updates, or results of script execution to the user. Interactivity is key. Let's learn how to take user input in your PowerShell scripts, making them more user-friendly and versatile. You can collect user input using the readHost cmdlet. This cmdlet allows your script to prompt the user for input, and the user can type a response, which is then stored in a variable for further use. With if-else statements, you can make decisions in your scripts. Let's explore how to use them to create conditional logic in your PowerShell code. An if-else statement is used to introduce conditional logic into your PowerShell script. It lets you specify one block of code to execute if a condition is true, the if block, and another block of code to execute if the condition is false, the else block. Here's a simple example that checks if a number is greater than 10 and provides different output messages based on the result. Loops are essential for performing repetitive tasks. We'll look at two common types of loops in PowerShell, for and while loops. A for loop is used when you know how many times you want to repeat a block of code. It typically consists of three parts: initialization, setting an initial value; condition, specifying a condition that, when true, continues the loop; Iteration, updating the loop variable on each iteration. Functions make your code more organized and reusable. We'll create a simple function and show you how to use it in your scripts. To define a function in PowerShell, you use the function keyword followed by the function name, parameter list, if any, and the code block enclosed in curly braces. To use a function, you call it by its name and provide any required arguments or parameters. The function executes the code within its block and may return a value. Here's a breakdown of what this script does. It uses getCounter to retrieve the CPU usage percentage of the total processor time. The script defines a $threshold variable set to 80%, which is the value you want to compare the CPU usage against. It then uses an if statement to compare the CPU usage, $CPU usage, with the threshold, $threshold. If the CPU usage is greater than or equal to the threshold, it prints that the CPU usage is higher or equal to 80%. Otherwise, it prints that the CPU usage is lower than 80%. You can run this script in a PowerShell environment, and it will provide you with the information about the CPU usage relative to the specified threshold. That's a wrap for part 1 of our PowerShell scripting series. We've covered the basics, including variables, if-else statements, loops, functions, and how to take user input. You've also written your first interactive script. But this is just the beginning. In the next episode, we'll dive even deeper into PowerShell scripting. Be sure to check out our blog at tempcoder.org for detailed articles on today's topics. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you in the next episode.